we all know that Governor Whitmer has set that 70% vaccination rate as a benchmark to try to reopen the state of Michigan. And demand has caught up with supply. And we know more and more people have been hesitant to get the vaccination. But to try to help overcome so many of the hurdles that may be facing some individuals, Representative Brenda Lawrence for the 14th Congressional District is spearheading a mass vaccination week right now. So we're so happy to have the Congresswoman here with us on the MegaCast. And with that, how are things going?
Hello, thank you for having me. So I'm so excited to promote awareness, accessibility, and to educate about the vaccine. We have been on the coronavirus highway for way too long. The only exit off is through the vaccine. And we know that there's some people who are saying, I don't know how to go online to register. So we all this week it's walk up. You don't have to register. You just walk in and get your vaccine. We also know that they said it's not in my neighborhood. I don't have transportation. We're at high school, churches. We are at hospitals. We are at city halls. And we this week we're calling the GOTV, Get Out the Vaccine. And for people to, just like we run a campaign to make it accessible and to make it educate people about the availability. And we also have to address some of those awful myths, like they're putting a chip in my arm, people are dying. And I ask people, when you hear that, you know it's very few people in America now that did not have a direct contact with someone that was hospitalized or who unfortunately passed away from COVID. Name me one person you know who died from the vaccine. I'm not aware of any, but I do know that I've cried at many funerals and memorials from this virus.
Well, and we do know there is a person on the western part of the state in Grand Rapids. Her family does believe that she passed away after getting the J&J. And with that, when they paused the J&J vaccine, I will say I was signed up the day that the pause came down.
Mhm.
Do you think it's that pause has kind of pushed people to be more hesitant
Mhm.
to get the vaccine? Because we do know some people are searching out the one and done dose versus the Moderna and the Pfizer. Did that hurt our vaccination efforts?
The reality is that look at the response that we actually pulled the vaccine off the market to do more research. And I will not sit here and say that everything is perfect, but I will tell you, if you take aspirin, if you read the bottle, there are side effects and there are warnings on any medical um, medicine that you are prescribed. But when you're sick, you go to the doctor and they prescribe medicine or treatment and you follow that. The vaccine is a result of science. There are so many complicated things about our bodies, and I can't predict that, like the incident, we don't know, but they are feeling that J&J was involved in it. But does that mean that you should risk dying? Does that mean that your physical being, that you are going to say that I'm not going to participate in getting us back to work, back to school, back to the games, back to weddings? We really need to get to the 70%.
We're talking with Representative Brenda Lawrence on the MegaCast. She represents Michigan's 14th Congressional District, but is also spearheading a mass vaccination week here in the Metro Detroit area. I will say I went and I did get vaccinated yesterday at Ford Field. It was quick and it was easy. And I will say I don't get the flu shot. So I probably, in all honesty, would not have been vaccinated if I didn't feel the pressure from the public and our politicians to get it. It was quick and it was easy, but I was really surprised at how few people were getting vaccinated yesterday. It was like a mass empty
Mm-hmm.
hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And with that though, do you think part of this also just comes from some people feel like they have a mistrust in the government because of what's happened decades ago.
There's some history in the United States that does not promote trust. I mean, we've had some moments in history that some people will still hold America and the government accountable for. But I can tell you, sitting in the seat of government now, knowing that this vaccine has been developed by scientists, and it didn't, some people think it just started with Corona, but the type of vaccine that we're having has been in research for decades. But this virus promoted the actual rollout of the vaccine. And so I'm telling people, I've got both of my shots. I was reluctant like you, but when I look at the devastating impact of this virus, not only to our health and to our lives, but to our economy, to the education of our children, to just overall mental health. We must do something, and we can do it together. And you can sit around and you can find everything you shouldn't do it for. I'm gonna give you all the lists to balance that, to show you all the reasons you should. And you're sitting here talking to me. You took it, and I've had both, and I just want everyone to know that I personally am not aware of anyone who was hospitalized or passed away. And I know a lot of people from this virus. And this is happening. The Congressional Black Caucus started this. This is happening all over the country, in Texas and Ohio and in Florida and in New York and California and Vegas. We're all doing a mass vaccination week because 30% of the people getting the vaccines are the African Americans. However, we died and was hospitalized at a disproportionate rate. And the fact that we need to do something so I don't have to lose any more of the members of the Black community and families is incumbent upon me to act. And that's why we're doing GOTV, Get Out the Vaccine.
And we should note as well, they had signs posted yesterday letting people know your ID was not needed, because we do know, especially in Southwest Detroit,
Yes.
sometimes some members of our Hispanic community, they're worried that their information is going to be tracked. So maybe if we have undocumented people here in our
Mhm,
community, they should know
mhm.
that their information is not being taken. No one is collecting to try to figure out if you're undocumented or not.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And if you do have some concerns, you can go to lawrence.house.gov. You'll see all the locations where the vaccine will be given. In addition to that, I put out the announcement the other day. If you need me, call my office and say, I need you to come hold my hand so I can be with me. Because some people are just afraid. And I will be glad to come and hold your hand and walk you through it.
So, if I can ask you this, Congresswoman, because we do know that if someone does have severe side effects from getting the vaccine, they
Mhm,
feel like they are doing a community service by
mhm.
getting the vaccine. If they do have complications and medical complications, why is it they cannot be financially compensated? Because they can't sue the vaccine makers, nor can they sue the government. If Shouldn't we be taking care of the people for doing a community service and getting the vaccine if they do have complications?
Every medical procedure that you take, every medicine you take, it depends on your amazing chemical makeup and design of your body, your genes, your all the things that are make you who you are uniquely. There may be some side effects and some reactions to that. So no one can promise you that because I had no side effects that you're not. I've had people said I felt like I was just really tired. It lasted a day or two and then it went away. But I have not had anyone to be in a position where they wanted to sue. I have not heard of any or been made aware of it. And you can go in for childbirth, you can go in for a knee replacement or a simple colonoscopy, and
Mhm.
you can have a side effect to that. I mean, you have your legal rights in every scenario in America.
So, with that though, if for the people that maybe are uncomfortable, if that was offered, do you think that would help reduce some of the hesitancy?
I have not heard anyone tell me that that has been an issue. And if it's an issue, we will absolutely address that.
We're speaking with Representative Brenda Lawrence. She represents the 14th Congressional District. Our motto right now, go TB, get out the vaccine. It is so easy right now. We know at the beginning it was very difficult, but now the supply has caught up with the demand. You can pretty much get it anywhere. And do you think that if the FDA does approve allowing at least the Pfizer vaccine at this point in time for teens 12 to 15, that that's going to help us as a country reach that so-called herd immunity?
It will, because unfortunately, right now, the majority of our infections are ages 40 and under. They're our most social group in society, ball games, traveling, socialization, and unfortunately being hospitalized. Because when the virus first hit, it was the older people, it was the people 60 and over. Now it is those 40 and under. And so to stop the spread, it will definitely benefit the herd immunity that we're seeking.
So with that, if we can kind of shift focus just a little bit, I'd like to get your thoughts on the staffing shortage that so many businesses here in the state of Michigan, but also across the country, they're experiencing right now. And for some of them, they're having to reduce hours or even close their businesses, not so much because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but because of the crisis in trying to get employees.
Well, I've heard this from numerous restaurant owners, in particular. We know that there is an unemployment subsidy that has been placed um, into the payroll situation for people who are unemployed because of COVID. We have tried everything to keep our economy afloat during this period. I say to anyone, once you get your vaccine, I'll go back to that, then we can have you working in a restaurant without fear. And we can absolutely, the more people we get vaccinated, then they can come in without fear of you. We have to overcome, people are acting as if everything is fine. There's been a lot of trauma related to this. We need people to start going back to work. And I will say that very clearly and without apology. Our economy doesn't work unless we are all working. And it's time for people to go back to work. We know the restaurants are opening up, thank goodness, but they can't open up without people there. To serve and to perform the job that's needed in restaurants. So I'm saying to everyone, get your vaccine and get back to work.
So, do you think requiring vaccine and having to show that you've been vaccinated is going to be a part of our future? People are already anticipating with travel, it may become a necessity.
The overall intent to protect people and to stop the spread, some people define that as government reaching too far, as government taking away their rights. But I want to be very clear that the fact that we are here now and reducing the amount of deaths, oh my goodness, it was horrible every day to just get these hundreds and hundreds of reports across the country of people dying. And now we have hospitalization, but very few deaths. That's a result of government stepping in and saying that we cannot allow a pandemic to just wipe out our country. The fact that we're giving the unemployment subsidy is because people couldn't work and they're at home. And we had to do something because what are you going to do? Send people home to starve to death? So the government, there's always that thin line. How far do you go? How much do you do? When do you pull back? And we're always going to be criticized. But I know for a fact the intent of all of the bills, the rescue bill, the stimulus package, the unemployment, is to help Americans and to give you a lifeline during this pandemic.
So with that, I know that you have a background with the U.S. Postal Service. I believe they're doing a protest today in Detroit. We are still seeing issues with delays. What is still going on? What's the problem still? I know that in the beginning they were saying that they possibly thought it was connected to the Republican Party trying to slow down the mail so that people, if they were voting by mail, their vote wasn't counted. But here we are, the election is over,
Mhm.
and these problems and these issues and these delays are still sticking around.
Well, now it is when I spoke to the Postmaster General and spoke to the district manager here in Michigan, they're saying it's people are not coming to work, that there's over 30,000 postal employees who are not reporting to work. And the fact that they're still using as the reason for not reporting the pandemic. And so we are going to be, as we get more and more vaccinated, removing um, that excuse that I don't feel safe. They had some really bad breakouts because postal workers are first responders. They
Mhm.
didn't get to sit at home during the pandemic. And so now we have to get people back to work. And we are I'm looking at this very closely and monitoring how many people they're saying are off work. And the Postal Service has to do their job. And they're saying that they're rotating the routes. So if you don't get your mail today, the postmaster of Detroit said, then you'll get it tomorrow. But that person yesterday who got mail won't get it today because they're trying to cover all the routes. That doesn't sound acceptable, but this is a number one priority for us to deliver the mail.
That is really fascinating. I hadn't heard that side of it, but I always appreciate your insight because we know that you worked for the U.S. Postal Service. And with that, I did see on your website that you have a proposal to name one of the Detroit offices after Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul.
Absolutely. It's one of the honors you have being a member of Congress. You can name federal buildings. And she was a dear friend, and I was a huge fan. And that's one of our ways to represent and honor her legacy and her contributions she made during her life.
So, do you think is it going to happen then?
Yes, it has been signed by the president. So we're waiting for COVID and all the restrictions to lift so that we can have a really grand renaming.
She really did live such a fascinating life, but not only her, but her father as well.
Yeah.
I recently watched the show based on her life on Nat Geo. I know
Hmm.
the family wasn't necessarily supportive of the programming, but
Hmm.
it really was fascinating, and I think not only told her story,
Hmm.
but the story of her father, who was also instrumental and offering so much to our community.
Hmm. I did not know her father, but I watched it as well, and it was eye opening for me. It was eye opening to me because she wasn't a complainer, and to see some of the challenges she had in her life, I was like, wow. I mean, I would talk to her on the phone for hours and never heard her reach back or begrudge her life. She just wanted to live in the moment.
And what an angel when it came to her singing.
Hmm.
Just not another voice like Aretha Franklin's.
It was one of those voices you didn't have to say, who is that singing? You recognize that voice. And there's few people who could stand at that level and just whenever they open their mouths, you go like, oh, that's Aretha, or that's Barbara Streisand, or that's Celine Dion. Or, you knew the women, Whitney Houston was another one. But it was such an honor for me to know her.
Oh, well, I think it's such an honor as well for you to be able to give that gift to her family, to
Hmm.
be able to name a building after her, because we do know she meant so much, not only to Detroit in this area, but also the entire country as
Yes.
well. So I think she would absolutely love that you're doing that for her.
Yes.
Representative Brenda Lawrence with us here on the MegaCast. Anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to add? I feel like all of our elected leaders, you guys you're so busy. It's like a juggling act every day.
Well, I want everyone to know that this week where Mother's Day is coming up. There's something I want to add. What better gift to give your mother? One of the things that have really devastated us during this virus is the separation from our parents. Some of us, the parents were in nursing home or even living at home, and we would drop things off at the door. We haven't had that hug from our mother for over a year. It's because we're trying to protect her. And if you are a mother, think about you being healthy and being around to take care of your children. So Mother's Day is coming up. What better gift than to get the vaccine? And for anyone, you can find something wrong with the sun shining because you can get sunburned. But thank goodness the sun comes out and it gives warmth and it makes us feel so good. And I will tell you the benefits of this vaccine 4 times, triple times any of the concerns that you have. Talk to your doctor. You know, I'm a politician saying go out and get the vaccine because I want to get this virus under control. I had a very dear friend who has a lot of allergies, and she would not get the vaccine until she went to her doctor and got an exam and got his blessing. And she now has her second shot. So please, I want you to get the vaccine, but I want you to understand because it's your body, but we need you. This is a team effort. Let's get off of this highway of coronavirus and get back to our lives.
And I really think being able to just walk in and get the vaccination is really going to be a game changer for not only us, for all of us here in Michigan, but also across the country as well.
I wanted to share with you my hesitancy. A dear friend of mine called. He's a doctor, and he said, "Brenda, have you gotten your vaccine?" And I said, "I'm gonna see what happens. You know, I heard some people are getting sick. I don't know." He said, Brenda, sick, dead, sick, dead." He said, "I can fix sick. I cannot fix dead. Please get the vaccine." And this is what I want to say to everyone. He said, "I need you. You are my representative in Congress. And just think about you. And why do, Ronnie, do we need you? We need your voice, we need your brilliance, your talent. And I can just say this about all of our community. Those people that we lost, they're gone. Their talent, their love and all the things that they brought, it's gone. We need you. We need you so that we can continue to have an amazing country. Thank you so much, Ronnie, and have an amazing Mother's Day to everyone. And get your vaccine, GOTV.
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to you as well. And we look forward to the ceremony naming the post office after Aretha Franklin. Again, thank you for all your work that you do for all of us here, because we know it has not been an easy time for you
No,
and your counterparts there in DC. So thank you again.
thank you. Bye bye.